Hello guys, this is another podcast from black-desert.com, kindly presented to you by me, Apollonius, and my dear friend Ike. It's been a while since we last had the last episode of a Black podcast, but during the last month there was a lot going on. We've had the chance to meet Pearl Abyss in their office in Korea, and we also had the pleasure of meeting them again together with their partners Dumb Communications at Gamescom 2014. What we can tell you so far is that Pearl Abyss has been working hard. They've been working really hard to process the feedback they received during CBT2, and they've been even working harder to work on that feedback, process it, and adapt it for the upcoming CBT3, which the registration has started, and we will provide you with more details in the future. So, besides that, our partners from 2p.com also met with Pearl Abyss at Chinajoy, and they also had an interview with them, as we did in our respective meetings with them. There's been a lot of news, a lot of things have been confirmed, and even more have been published. So, to make a summary of what you will hear today, we're going to touch the subject of Ike's meeting in Korea with Pearl Abyss. We're going to go into details on the 2p interview at Chinajoy, and we will also present you the results of our meeting with Pearl Abyss at Gamescom. So Ike, tell us, how was your meeting in Korea with Pearl Abyss? Can you tell us a little bit of where their offices are located, describe their offices, and what your experience was?
Well, Apollonius, thanks for asking. Firstly, their offices at Seoul, the capital city of South Korea, and I was very excited when I arrived there. Their office is huge and was filled with desks with high-end PCs, which each one had at least 3 monitors each. All of them on the screens were working on new stuff for Black Desert Online. It was really amazing, and I remember the first thing I noticed when I entered the office was a level 37 warrior on the private server. After Mr. Brian O and Mr. Won, the lead game designer, welcomed me, they gave me a quick tour around the offices. They explained that approximately 85 people were working there, and each desk had different purpose. For example, one desk was for working on the map, other desk only on modeling, other desk only on texturing, and etc. Then we moved to the upper floor. There were recording studio offices. Also in the same floor they had another room which they had a face scanning machine and a motion capturing studio. I really want to see that room in action, but I was not that lucky that day.
They didn't allow you to wear the black suit and move around and see yourself in 3D.
Unfortunately not. Maybe next time.
You know, maybe when they work on the Ike class in the future, we will see that.
Oh, I like the idea. Maybe I need a class. Then, after the quick tour, we went for a delicious lunch. At the same time, we discussed about the stage of the game, which we will discuss the new stuff in this podcast. And before my day at their office end, they let me play the last up-to-date client, which that will be the same as the closed beta 3. There again, I experienced new stuff, which we will discuss about them later on. So why don't we begin by telling us how was your day on the meeting with Pearl Abyss and Dumb Communications on Gamescom?
So yeah, my meeting with Pearl Abyss was pretty interesting, and it was also the first time they were accompanied by someone from Dumb Communications. I have to say that it wasn't so much a formal meeting because, as you know, I also had the pleasure to meet with them last year when I had the Gamescom 2013 interview with them.
It was like a friendly meeting, right?
Yeah, it was friends catching up and discussing about their favorite game and the prospects of it. And I have to say, and I need to thank our community at the forums for black-desert.com for contributing a lot with their questions for that specific interview. Sadly, even though we have a total of 16 answered questions, we need to tell our viewers that we did only include the very questions that we received a satisfying answer to them. So we have a lot of confirmed things, and we have a lot of new things announced, and we will go into them.
Well, From your interview, we learned new stuff about the guild section. What can you tell us about the guild and PvP section of Black Desert Online at this moment?
We have to understand, and this is not news for our old viewers, it may be for the newcomers, that Pearl Abyss focuses on Black Desert to be a sandbox game. By sandbox, they want the players to be as free as they can be, and which the game mechanics and the features allow them to be. So Pearl Abyss understands the need of content that is based on group gameplay. And obviously guilds play a major role in a game such as Black Desert, because the guilds will be the very hub which will allow players to organize around it and to experience PvP and PvE. Now, it's not that it is some kind of theme park game where you just, create the group and then you put in the dungeon finder and you experience the content. It will require actual organization by the very players themselves. Mainly like, it used to be in the old school games. So Pearl Abyss understands that they need to push forward with content that will motivate players to participate in their skills and also give them a reward for, going through that hustle. So what we can expect is that Pearl Abyss in the upcoming betas, open betas and release will add more and more content which will enable players to have a better experience while playing as part of a group. So one major aspect of the guild system overall is going to be the guild skills. We've told it before and it's known. In Black Desert, guilds will be of two kinds. It will be the warfare type of guilds and it will be also the economy type of guilds. And depending on what type of guild has been created, these two specific types will have the chance to be further customized by making use of so-called guild skills. It will affect crafting, it will affect PvP, and they will put more effort into allowing us to further customize our guilds to have a unique experience, and also, allow the guilds to be more individual and contribute in many ways as possible.
I think we both learned Close Beta 3 will have a lot of differences from Close Beta 2. I saw that you had some info about a fortress that they are planning to add on the game. We know how those castles are going to work on the game, but what Pearl Abyss told you about the fortresses thing? I mean, did they explain how they will work and the benefits of owning one?
Well, Ike, it's no secret that Black Desert Online will include castles and siege warfare in it. And this is news, you hear it here for the first time by black-desert.com, since we're the first to release it, that Black Desert Online will feature a unique command center system, which will be incorporated to the overall castle system itself. So let me elaborate a little bit more on it to make it clearer to our viewers. So far, Black Desert Online features castles, and these castles have a total area of control which the owning guild rules over. But with this command center feature implemented, guilds will have the opportunity to create command centers around this greater area of control of the castles and be able to control smaller regions within. Now, it won't be easy to create such command centers, and it will require a lot of resources and work of the guild members and the guild itself, but the benefit will be that it will allow for strategic region control in preparation for when said guild is going to attack the bigger castle. So obviously other guilds will have also the chance of attacking these command centers and try to push the reigning guild of that command center away to get greater region control. And in combination with the absence, another news from us, of the alliance system, it will allow for a very intriguing and very drama-driven gameplay in Black Desert Online, highlighting its sandbox feature.
And did they explain you the reason why they don't want to add an alliance system like the other games?
The reason Pearl Abyss will, at least at the beginning, not have an alliance system incorporated to the game is that in the presence of an alliance system, what the developers actually do is to force players and guilds to join factions. Because 2, 3, 4 big guilds will join together and they will, stretch a plan and organize themselves as to how to divide the loot and how to divide the regions they can conquer and get the benefits for themselves, while there will be another faction, meaning alliance, that will try to overrule them. So in order to avoid this creation of factions, they want to have the solidarity and betrayal amongst guilds be highlighted. This means that during combat or during politics, your dependency on another guild will be affected by their trust in you and the solidarity you've shown in recent actions so far. So they want to give the guilds themselves the chance, based on non-game features, to form the politics of the game, which allows for more diversity and a better experience in my opinion.
I see. Well, since we are discussing about combat, did you learn anything about the naval combat that they are planning to add on the next beta?
Yes, I addressed the possibility of naval combat in Black Desert Online, but what I learned from Pearl Abyss was that there will be multiple naval units, and there might be also the chance of multiple people boarding one set unit. But I think that you learned a little bit more than that in your attendance in Korea.
Well, my question was, will a single player will be able to go to a naval combat, or there will need to be a whole crew in order to operate the ship? Unfortunately, I did not have a direct answer, only that there will be even small boats for one person, and that there will be boats which you can put your friends into. And unfortunately, I did not have enough time in order to explain me how the naval combat will actually work. But I did another question as well. Are we, the user, will be able to customize our boats? And the answer was yes. That means we will see some black sails and flags, and some people, I bet, they will try to conquer the Sea of Black Desert Online like pirates.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how far the open world dynamic will be affecting naval combat. I mean, we've seen it in games like Arc Age where you can become a pirate, so it would be definitely interesting how much depth the naval aspect of the game is going to put into the PvP aspect of Black Desert Online, as well as its trading system, you know? So I can see that maybe in the future, hopefully, players will be able to, or guilds themselves will be able to create their own trading posts on islands or on the mainland and further develop their economic ties all over the Black Desert world. But obviously, Ike, such a novel system will require a bigger map, right?
Well, actually, I saw the whole new map.
You lucky bastard.
Come on, don't be so harsh.
I'm not harsh, I'm just expressing the thoughts of our beloved viewers.
I see, alright. Well, yes, I did, and the map is dramatically increased. The map is increased approximately about 1/3 of the existing map. Most of it is on the land side, south side of the map. On the sea side, they added only 2 more islands, but they will definitely add some more someday. On the south part, there is a mountain area. One part will be snowy mountain, and the other a dry rocky mountain, but unfortunately we won't see those new areas soon.
So regarding the CBT3, Pearl Abyss is going to also implement several new features, which among others will be a new cloth dyeing system. We will be able to color our armors on 3 different levels, and there will be also a pet system which for the first time in Black Desert Online will allow players to have a companion with them. We're not sure so far what kind of pets / companions we'll be able to have in the game, but a revealing screenshot showed us that among others there might be cats and dogs, so wait for more news on that. So these are features that will be implemented in CBT3. What else is coming up, if not during CBT3, at least as we're approaching release?
Well, they are planning to add emotes for the characters. I think that will be a great thing for the role-playing players. It will probably be emotes like waving or crying, etc. I don't really know yet.
I like the /bow emote, to be honest. You know, I'm walking through the castle and people will be /bow all before me.
Hail the great King Apollonius.
No, but really, I think it's a really great effort by Pearl Abyss that they are taking into consideration the Western audience, which has a much more advanced roleplay community than in the East, where I think it's more or less absent, and they want to provide a great time for the majority of players. So definitely kudos there, Perlabis. Moreover, we've been discussing with Perlabis on the possibility of adding a skill points reset system. Their comment was that they've seen it being successful in previous titles, and they're thinking about maybe implementing it in the future, depending on what the player reaction will be. On the one hand, I think it's a good idea because it will allow for players that made a mistake early on misspending their skill points to make up for their mistakes. But on the other hand, someone might have a counter argument saying that decisions should, especially in sandbox games such as Black Desert Online, count. So we will see what the feedback in CBT3 will be, and what also the respective Korean and Russian player base thinks of the current existing skill system. So there's definitely a lot more to come from it in the future.
I think that's great news, because if somebody took wrong skills, later on he will be able to focus on the skills he really wished to. But
yes, but as I said, note that these are thoughts Perlabis are making, so it's not definite.
So let's move better to some clarification that we learned about the Black Desert Online. For example, the weather system. In the beginning we thought that the weather will affect your skill speed, but later on we learned that it only affect your damage you do with your skills.
Yes, that's correct. We did a test together if you remember, during CBT2, where we came to the conclusion that the skill sequence a player uses affects the overall speed of animations of the character itself, but the weather does not affect the animation speed. Perlabis told me that they were thinking about it, but it was too much work to do. But what now is the case is that the weather actually affects damage. So if it's raining, for example, or if it's a lot of wind, it will reduce the effectiveness of ranged spells, for example.
Yeah, but another great thing that I learned was there were gonna be some enchanting stones that will ignore that penalty. For example, if you can enchant your weapon with a stone which will make to remove that penalty in rain, for example.
Everything so far sounds great, but what about the classes, Ike?
Well, unfortunately there's some bad news about the classes. The classes in Closed Beta 3 is gonna be the same classes as the class of CDB2, which those are the Ranger, the Sorceress, the Fighter and the Giant only.
And apart from these 4 classes, which we'll be able to experience during CBT3, we want to inform our viewers that officially the available classes of Black Desert are going to be the Warrior, the Valkyrie, the Sorceress, the Wizard, the Giant, the Ranger, the female version of it, the male version of the Ranger, the Blader and the Tamer. So Black Desert Online will feature a total of 9 classes.
It was also clarified to me from the lead game designer that there won't be other races like the rumors of Hobbit or Dwarf. Unfortunately that were only rumors and not true. They also mentioned about to make a 10th class, but unfortunately we don't have any more news about that because they have not started the class yet and they only discuss about adding a new class, which probably won't be on the release of the game.
So apart from the news and the confirmation so far, you've had the chance to test the CBT3 client in Korea. I'm definitely sure that our viewers are dying to learn details on what the CBT3 client is going to include. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I can say that the first thing I noticed was on the character creation stage. They add 3 new hairstyles for the Sorceress class. Unfortunately, I did not saw all classes, but I can assume that they're gonna have add some new stuff for the character creation for all classes. When I logged in the server, the first thing I noticed is that the game felt a little bit faster than Closed Beta 2. I don't know why, but it was slightly faster. I mean in movements and running and fighting. Then another major thing they add was the new minimap. I mean, everybody have seen the radar they have on the Closed Beta 2 in videos, but now they have add underneath that a minimap showing the surrounding area, and of course you can see the roads of the town and that kind of stuff. Another thing they add was the leveling system on the common skills like crafting, alchemy, resourcing, that kind of stuff, which I believe is gonna make the users be more specialized in some parts and not everything. Of course you can max every skill, but you're gonna need a lot of time. Then I want to go to check the swimming. As I was running to the sea, I realized that your stamina goes down even if your weapons are sieved. In Close Beta 2 you could use the sprint as long you wanted if your weapons were sieved, but now you will need to use stamina even when your weapons are sieved, and I didn't really like it, but that's how they did it. And of course the bar was increased a little bit. I mean, for example, if you could sprint for 5 seconds Close Beta 2 till your stamina runs out completely, in CDP 3 you're gonna need 8 seconds, for example, to use the whole stamina. Then I went to the sea and I tried the swimming. For those who have tried the Close Beta 2 and Close Beta 1, that's a major thing that they add and looks really nice. But unfortunately for those who did not try the game before, it's not gonna be something special. And that concludes my visit to Pearl Abyss office. It was a really great experience and I really want to thank Pearl Abyss for giving me that chance. And I'm really excited to try the game again, and I can't wait to see the final stage of Black Desert Online. So now, just before we finish our podcast, is there any major thing that you learned from DAM Communication and Pearl Abyss when you visit them at Gamescom?
Hell yeah, there is, and I can tell you the following thing. I discussed with DAM Communications and Pearl Abyss on the prospect of localizing Black Desert Online for the Western community, and I have tremendous news regarding this. Actually, I can inform our viewers that Pearl Abyss is not going to water down any aspects of Black Desert Online for the Western audience, because to DAM Communications as the publisher and Pearl Abyss as the developer, it is of essential importance to them that the core aspects of Black Desert Online are going to be the same all over the globe. So they won't take any steps which will drastically reduce the effectiveness of the gameplay experience in Black Desert Online West when compared to the East. And they also shared a little secret with me that they're actually having thoughts of having a rather slightly more hardcore approach on Black Desert Online for the future, because the feedback they accumulated from their Korean player base during the CBT1, CBT2 is that they would like to see Black Desert Online be more hardcore, in the sense that it should feature aspects in the game that make it harder rather than easier to play, because they felt that Black Desert Online is so far somewhat easy for them. So that's definitely happy news for all the players out there that started playing kinds of games such as Dark Age of Camelot and Lineage 2. So these kind of communities are definitely going to be attracted more and more towards Black Desert Online as the time goes by. So our forums at black-desert.com/forums are definitely open and welcome towards these kind of communities. So feel free, guys, to hop in our forums, share your experiences and your expectations. And I want, as content editor of black-desert.com, I want to ensure our community and also our fan base that we will go the extra mile of forwarding the feedback that we gather from our media towards the developers. We've done that, and I can underline it. You can also check it on our website, that in the past 365 days, we've had, together with our partners at 2p.com, over 6 interviews with Pearl Abyss. So if there is one portal which is listening to the fan base and the player base, you can be sure that this is black-desert.com. So visit our forums. Our YouTube channel is also available in the comment section. Our portal itself is featuring Discuss, so you can also comment there, and we will read all the comments. And if you have any wishes of further content to be developed for your taste, don't hesitate to contact us. So any last words from you, Ike, for this special podcast?
No, I think we finally reached the end of our podcast. I'm very glad that we had so many news directly from the developers, Pearl Abyss, and our next videos will have more new gameplay videos from the closed beta 3. Well, goodbye from me.
Goodbye, guys.